liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
You're tapped in. Let's get to it. So it seems that that guy, that Asian guy who had put that challenge out there about 3 weeks ago, saying that without Asian businesses, blacks wouldn't survive or couldn't survive, he has to be kicking himself in his butt. And not only that, I'm pretty sure he's catching a lot of flack for some of his own out of that community to even poke the bear in such a way. I mean, why didn't someone stop him? I wonder if he's married. I wonder if his wife had more sense than he does and said, honey, don't do that. Say what you will about him, but don't say it on social media. No one told him any better. He didn't know any better, Anyway, so as a result, now all this happened as a result of the Rick Child verdict, where he was found not guilty of killing Cyrus Carmack Belton. A lot of us in the black community saw that as a travesty of justice. And for the lives of us, we can't understand how is this even possible? How is this continuing? And by that, we mean, how is it that people can continue to get away with murdering our children with no repercussions or consequences? So this is something that did not sit well with the black community. And as a result, the black community decided that they were going to initially boycott Asian businesses in protest. But for whatever reason, it metastasized into, dang a boycott. We're going to black them out. In other words, we're going to extract these businesses from our communities, especially since you other guys, the Asians want to come on social media and, pretty much poke the bear or challenge black people in terms of their unity and determination, the persistence that, their plan, say, oh, we don't think you're capable is pretty much what he was saying. Wrong. He's been proven wrong. And a lot of us here on this side, especially here at TAP, we tend to think that whoever he was involved with, who knew him personally, who may have also had a business somewhere in the black community, they probably assaulted him, tried to whoop his ass. Like, man, how could you? Why would you do that? But anyway, that guy did that. He challenged the black community and said, hey, we don't think you guys have the wherewithal to do any of what you're talking about. In fact, we know you don't, because you need us. Without us, you won't survive. Damn, that was a bold statement he made. You got to admit that. When I first heard it, the day he did it, I said, oh, he got balls. He don't even know he's barking up the wrong tree. But you couldn't tell him that he was barking up the wrong tree. I think he comes from, or he has the mindset of that model minority, way of thinking. So a lot of them, as immigrants, come over here, their parents come over here, and, the government sets them up. So the government would rather set them up, with loans, businesses, and things like that to do business with us rather than give our people the loans, set us up with business so that we can do our own thing. This government has a history of being against the black entrepreneur, the black businessman, especially communities, whole communities. We all know too well how they deal with that sort of thing. So they would rather us be dependent rather than independent. And again, we know how this works. We've seen it work, for example, welfare. While they were giving the same welfare to white families, they did not bar the white father from the home. Yet that's what they employed or pushed in black communities, telling the black mother, okay, if you want this check, this assistance, this government assistance, the black man cannot be in the household. Do the math. It maths. So that happened, and we have these immigrants, Asian, some tethers, Africans from other areas, some everyone. They come to this country, they are afforded certain assistance and programs that blacks can't get or have to jump through, hoops to get. with no end to the jumping through the hoop thing, you know. But anyway, they come over and they say, "Oh yeah, see, you people are lazy, you people this and you people that," not really understanding comprehending what the system is really like for us, why it is the way it is against us. They don't get that part. So they'll come over, and because they've heard white people say, you know, probably sitting in the bank getting this loan to start this business in the black community, the bankers saying, "Oh yeah, those people are there lazy. They don't want anything, you know." They never, you know, have anything at work. They don't, you know, and so the Asians are sitting here, you know, sucking that shit up, and it becomes part of their thought processes. Oh, blacks don't want nothing. You know, you guys are lazy. Oh, you complain too much. You this, you that. You why can't you be more like other immigrants or you know, other people come here, they do it, they get it done. Yeah, you know, and that's where that model minority myth or complex mindset come from. They don't really understand that what they're saying, it really doesn't make sense. It's not the truth. That's not factual. They don't get that part. And this is why you had that guy probably say what he said. Now, that being said, you know me, I have a clip. I want to share this clip with you guys because I found it very interesting that this black woman would get up there and say what she said. And I find it interesting that she got up there to say what she said because there is a moral to her story. Now, a lot of us, we're getting in this rhythm, right? We're beyond boycotting now. We're blacking out and extracting Asian businesses or putting them out of business in our community and in their place, instilling it or, you know, propping up our own. There's a bigger picture though, in terms of why we need to be doing this. And one thing for a lot of those who think, oh, blacks are racist, and blacks say, okay, think what you want. But I don't think this is motivated by anger per se. We tend to think now that this thing is motivated by love of people, especially our children, you know. Now, in that respect, I want to also add we should not be selective in this regard. Yes, the Asians should be sent packing, but that also goes for the Mexican, the Latinos, the Mexicans, the Hispanics. Don't give them our dollars. That will also go for tethers, all those who have melanated skin that come from other countries who have the same mindset, thought processes of the Asians. They also work under that model minority mindset. We need to know who we're spending our dollars with, and those dollars need to stay within our community. You know, anybody who would be against us, and before all them, we know who we have. We have the government. We have white men who have always strove to make sure we have nothing, and anything we've built with our hands and our brains, they've destroyed because they would rather have us have nothing and be dependent on them than have something and be independent of them. They rather us depend on them than not. All right. That's the truth. That's the truth. Along with the fact that our people have always been entrepreneurial, innovators, inventors, you know, go-getters, pathfinders, legends, trailblazers. You know, there's no challenge, you know, put before us that we haven't answered and won. So yeah, he did that and he should have done that. Now I have a clip like I always do. I want to bring this clip in. Um, give you guys some, you know, it's very insightful. It's very insightful. Well, before I do, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to Tapped. You are tapped into the art of political discourse, the art of political discourse. You guys' participation and viewership, it means a great deal to us. And again, I'm going to throw this out there. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Your subscriptions to this podcast will mean a great deal to us, and we'll continue to bring you guys worthy content. Okay. Now, that being said, let's get ready to get into this thing. Now, again, what sparked all this, what we see taking place, and what a lot of us are we're beginning to see the effects of this thing expanding and moving beyond just the Asians, as it should. A lot of us think, I do personally, um, moving beyond the agents, it should be all encompassing. Therefore, that means any demographic government, city, that does this to our people, they need to feel the same sting. And in fact, we don't want to just sting them. We want to cut them open. We want to bleed them. We want to bleed them financially. So if the city allows a police officer to kill one of our brothers or our sisters, our children, then we shut the city down as well. We boycott the city as well. If Mexicans want to be disrespectful and do these same things that Asians have done or is doing, we shut them down as well. If the Jewish community is the same way, we shut them down as well. And I'll go one further. Of all those demographics I just named, not a one of them spend money with Black businesses. Be hard pressed to find a Mexican that would spend money with a Black business. It would be impossible to find a Jewish person spending any money in the Black community. It would be almost unheard of to see an Asian spend money in the Black community. And more importantly, the whites never spend money in the Black community. So there that is. And again, all this is as a result of Rick Child being found now guilty of the murder of one Cyrus Carmack Bolton. Okay. Now, as a result of that, this situation escalated after a viral video of the Asian guy who said, "Hey, I dare you guys. You can't survive without us." That content creator, he mocked the boycott idea, which was really the fuel that lit this flame that they're now being burned by, and he claimed that Black communities couldn't survive without Asian-owned businesses. So what that did was it brought a lot of our people together, and as a result, they played a major role or came together to create, this thing where we're going to use the target boycott method, and they responded by directly challenging, people to test that method upon these Asian businesses. Now, the anecdotal signs of impact, there are really no hard numbers at this point, but there is the acknowledgement that this thing is affecting Asian businesses. One Black-owned nail salon owner in Atlanta told The Root she's seen uptick in business since the boycott began. And social media users have shared examples like Black-owned beauty stores and restaurants in Camden, New Jersey, reportedly outperforming long-established Asian-owned competitors in the past year. Now, this is before then all this took place. So in the past year, Camden, New Jersey, Black business owners were already on game. You know what I mean? They were already on game. So that's a good look. Also, some TikTok accounts have circulated videos of Asian-owned nail salons sitting empty. All right, no one's there. It's a ghost town. At least that's what I'm hearing. I see a lot of videos. You hear the crickets, but these are individual, unverified social media clips, not audited sales data. So, in other words, yeah, that clip showed that. But what was the books for that day? What was the books for that week? What are the books for these last 3 weeks in terms of agents not, providing the services they normally provide? How much of a hit have they actually taken? Yeah, we can do videos all day, but most of us are not going to stand in that one location all day to see who comes and goes. All right. The only indicator or indication we can get of that activity or that type of action and movement is, by looking at the books, the data. What were the receipts for the day? What are the receipts for the week? What are the receipts for the month? That's how you are able to quantify whether or not this thing is working. But the bottom line is there's real momentum and visible anecdotal effects in specific shops and cities, especially nail salons and beauty supply stores. But it's only been a few weeks, people. So listen, brothers and sisters, don't get comfortable, become more inspired again to have this thing expand beyond the Asian demographic, because we have other demographics who treat us just as bad or worse than the Asians have been doing for the last few decades. Again, we have Mexicans, you have Jewish people, and you have white people, and all of them have done us grave misservices, and we have lost life, our young brothers and sisters, as a result of these demographics. So if we're going to do this to the Asians, we may as well, and rightly so, do it to all these other demographics that also do the same thing that we're seeing the Asians do. All right. Let's not be selective in this respect. Let's be all inclusive, each and every one of them. So if a city worker murders a young black man or woman for no reason, the city need to be shut down. Okay, if we're going to do this, let's do it and do it correctly. Okay, that being said, let's get to this clip. All right, let's get to this clip, man. So this thing is it is continuing to expand, and let's help it do that. So I had this clip for greater context, and check this out. Now, she has a lot to say, and I think it's pretty insightful. An
Asian content creator got on this here internet wearing what can only be described as a Black American starter kit and decided to tell Black people that our money doesn't matter. Okay. According to him, Black people need Asian-owned businesses more than Asian-owned businesses need Black people. A boycott wouldn't move anything. The loss wouldn't register. Our dollars don't count. Now, this might just be me, but if I genuinely believed that somebody's money didn't matter, I don't think I'd spend my afternoon making a video about it. So naturally, I went looking at the history, because this conversation isn't really about just one video, right? The very second that Black people start talking economics, where our money goes, who profits from it, who builds wealth off our communities, people.
And let me jump in here right quick. And I'm pretty sure what she's going to say, but a great point she's about to make. It's not about the money, everybody. It's really not. It's about leverage. The money is just, the means to leverage. That's what we don't have. We have the money, but we haven't leveraged it to work for us. That's the big difference.
Get uncomfortable. That same discomfort doesn't appear when other groups do the same thing. Every immigrant community that's come to this country has done it. Jewish, Chinese, Korean, Italian, Indian, Armenian.
And now they say because we're doing it, we're racist. Because Blacks want to pool their money now and use that money in their communities, for their communities, their children. We're racist now. Well, then what does that make everybody else? Because we're actually the last demographic to do it and do it together. So everybody else is racist, or they aren't.
Pooling resources, building businesses, keeping their money inside their communities for as long as possible. Nobody finds that controversial, though. But what they fail to recognize is that we understood the same thing. We had to. After slavery, Black communities built banks, hospitals, insurance companies, schools, newspapers, whole business districts. The Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma had 191 businesses. It had 2 schools, a hospital, and a library, all by 1921. They called it Black Wall Street. But on May 31st, 1921, a white mob attacked it. 2 days of looting, burning, and shooting. But it's us, right? We're the problem. 35 square blocks destroyed. More than 1,200 Black homes, businesses, schools, and churches, y'all, burned to the ground.
And where do we see this taking place at today, 2026? She said 35 square blocks destroyed. Where do we see this type of destruction today? Who is doing this? And it seems as if that page was ripped from the book. That page came from the book where all this,
World War I era planes dropped bombs from the sky on the Greenwood neighborhood. The official death toll was 36. But we know the estimates were around 300 Black people killed, murdered. The survivors were rounded up and held in internment camps in their own city. They were issued identification cards and couldn't leave without permission from a white supervisor. Insurance companies refused every claim. They had something called a riot clause. Not a single Black resident ever received financial assistance to rebuild. So when somebody gets on the internet and tells Black people that our money doesn't matter, I automatically think they're a dumbass, a racist dumbass. Corporations spend billions chasing Black consumers. Political campaigns spend millions trying to reach Black voters. Entire industries are built around marketing to Black communities. Our money matters. It mattered enough to burn a city for it in 1921.
Hello.
It mattered enough to redline neighborhoods for the next 50 years. It matters enough that every quarter, somebody's profit and loss statement depends on us showing up. Apparently, our money matters right up until we start talking about where we want to spend it. Then all of a sudden, it doesn't. Right? Nobody's entitled to Black customers. We spend our money where we want. That's how markets work. That's how capitalism works. That's how every other community inside this country operates. The fact that this becomes a controversy every time Black people say it out loud tells me that this was never about money. It was about leverage. And this country has been comfortable with Black spending. It's Black leverage that's always made them nervous. But if you know anything about me, you know I love a good challenge. Shop Black.
Y'all do.
Spend with your people. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. We going to show you better than we can tell you. Invest in Black businesses. Build the community. Y'all, we are overdue.
All right.
Chat GPT.
Okay. And you got to appreciate that, not for the fact that she's very articulate in her deliverance, how she, broke that down for us, but in the fact that she's speaking truth to power. It is our time. None of what is occurring because a lot of us tend to think that it is occurring because these are the signs that it is time for us to wake up now and do those things we're supposed to do that benefits Black first. So good piece, I have to say, if I should say so myself. Tell me what you think in the comments. Put your thoughts in those comments, whether or not you agree with what the Black community is doing on a whole with Asian businesses. And very soon we are sure in terms of expansion to other demographics, whether or not you agree with that. If you do, by all means, let me know why you do. Also, do you agree that what Blacks are doing is racist, or do Blacks have the right to spend their money where they choose without being labeled racist? Whatever those thoughts are, put them in the comments. We'll appreciate them. We'll read everyone and answer those that are full of fire, and have good points. All right. So until then, take care of yourselves and one another.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder